Shit, good morning. Oh, God. Just woke up about 45 minutes ago. Still trying to wake up. Still trying to wake up. Oh, God. It's kind of cold too in the morning, man. I got rid of my jacket. I got rid of that shit, man. It was to lug that thing around in the heat. I couldn't do that. I want to talk about something, man. You know, in this world, we already know that it's about looks. It's about money. You gotta have one of those for you to survive, man. Sorry, it's pretty cold out here, man. Gotta keep my fucking teeth from chattering, man, together. You know, we already know that it's all about looks, money, status, the bag. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't got one of those, bro, you ain't gonna survive. Your genetics won't survive. You won't survive, period. See, Chaz and Tyrone's and the bad boy, they could pass their genetics easily, with ease. But if you're a good guy, you're gonna have to work harder. Meaning that you obtain looks, you gotta obtain money, the bag. Or you won't be able to pass on your genetic code. You will disappear into thin air. You feel what I'm saying? So, in order to keep from being ghosted and disappearing, you gotta obtain the bag as a good guy. See, the Pookies and the Ray Rays, they don't have to go out there and get the bag like that. You feel what I'm saying? They don't have to go out there and get the bag. They don't have to go out there and work extra hard just so they can pass on their genetic code. Ooh, it's breezy this morning, bro. It still ain't summer yet, man. It is not summer. We approaching summer, but it's not summer yet. I can tell by how cold it is right now. Ooh. Oh. You feel what I'm saying? So you won't be able to pass on your genetic code as a good guy. Like me, I could have had a baby in my 20s. I had chances, but I just didn't take that chance like that in my 20s. You know, now it's even harder to have a baby more than ever because of cost of living, and you need to have your shit together. You know, they set higher standards for you, man. As a good guy, they set the higher standards. You know, they set that bar higher or lower. I mean, if you're doing limbo, best believe they're gonna set the bar lower for you. They're gonna set it higher for Chaz and Tyrone and the bad boy. It's either nowadays to pass on your genetic code, you have to be like a bad boy or a Chad or a Tyrone. I'm talking about with ease though, with no struggle. You know what I'm saying? And me, I always been in between a Pookie or a Ray Ray. You feel what I'm saying? I ain't never been hella you know, I ain't never been like goody two shoes all the way, and I ain't never been gangster all the way. You feel what I'm saying? I ain't never been a full-fledged Pookie or a full-fledged Ray Ray.
West Calaveras Boulevard at
You feel what I'm saying? I always been in between worlds. I'm half Pookie, half good guy. And I did get caught with a gun on me recently, but it was my gun. It was registered in my name though. You know what I'm saying? Some women find that sexy and shit. Oh, you got caught with a gun on you? Oh, that's sexy. And I went to jail for like 2 weeks. Boy, I tell you. You gotta be a Pookie or a Ray Ray nowadays to survive. You know what I'm saying? For your genetics to survive. If you want to pass on your genetics. But nowadays, man, you know, as a good guy, if you ain't got the bag, it's gonna be even harder for you to pass on your genetic code. See, if you a good guy, you got the bag, you'll be able to pass on your genetic code with ease, man. Out here, it's the survival of the fittest, man. It's the survival of the fittest. You know, whoever is the strongest, you know, will win and dominate. Man, my leg feel better. Still kind of stiff though. I should be good in a day from now. But I noticed, man, when I drop weight, all of a sudden females, they reacting now. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, now I really know that it's all about looks and money. You gotta have either one of those. Either you gotta have a lot of looks or a lot of money to survive, man. You can't be lacking in both areas, looks and money. You are doomed if you are. If you're lacking in looks and money, you're finished, bro. If you're lacking in both areas, it's either you gotta be at low percentage body fat at all times, or you gotta have a whole lot of money at all times. You feel what I'm saying? So I know that females, they react different to me losing the weight. I only lost like 7 pounds. You feel what I'm saying? So you gotta understand something, man. It's all about the survival of the fittest, man. Of course, women like a lot of looks. Of course, women like a lot of money, man. It's in their genetic code to do so. You know? That's why, man, gotta compete, man. That's what it is, man. I know a lot of guys don't want to compete, but and if you want to pass on your genetic code, you better compete. You feel what I'm saying? If you want to pass on your genetics, you better, shit. If you want to pass on your genetic code, if you want to pass on your genetics, you got to obtain that bag, bro. Like a lot of guys, you got to understand, you in danger. You ain't going to be able to pass on your genetics. There was one guy, I think he followed a Savvy guy, right? And I went to the comment section, man, and there was one guy, he said he's 60 years old and he still haven't met the love of his life. The guy's done for, bro. Once you reach like 60 and you still ain't passed on your genetic code, bro, you finished. That's why I always follow that David and Annie story, bro. Because that guy had a problem. You know, David had a problem. He had a genetic problem. I mean, he already passed on his genetics with another woman before that. But once he got over 40, you know, he started realizing like, hey, I need to procreate some more. I need to pass on my genetic code some more. You feel what I'm saying? So he flew to like Thailand, found him a wife, bro, brought her back to the US and procreated with her, man. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know, he solved his reproductive problem, man. So you're in danger of not being able to pass on your genetics, man. That's why I say, guys, you gotta not spend your whole entire life broke, dusty. Don't spend your whole entire life like that. Only spend a portion of your life being broke and dusty. Only a portion. Then get the bag at the end, man. You feel what I'm saying? Then you'll be able to pass on your genetic code. Let me tell you, if I came up on a bag, bro, not even like 10 million, it could be like 4 or 5 million. I'll be able to pass on my genetics with ease. Some female be don't scoop me up, you know what I'm saying, and have babies with me really quickly. Because what? I got the bag. And women like security, so they're more likely to let you bust nuts inside of them, man, and you know, have children when you got stability, bro. It's much easier to pass on your genetic code when you got the bag. Some guys don't get that part, bro. In my head, man, I said, man, I better hurry up and get this bag. I need to pass on my genetic code, baby. You feel what I'm saying? So I could pass on my genetic code with ease. Like I said, if I had the bag, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you guys right now. I'd be somewhere getting it on, you know, having a family, you know what I'm saying, and settling down. You feel what I'm saying? But I don't have the bag yet. So, you know, it's not going to be easy to pass on my genetics when I don't have the bag, when I'm broke. How you going to take care of family and you broke, bro? You don't have your finances in order. You know, you got like niggas in Hollywood that's passing on their genes with ease. Look at Tyrese. He could pass on his genetic code whenever he feels like it. The guy's worth millions of dollars. Okay? He got stability. And that's something you gotta fight for, bro. Stability. So I could be able to pass on my genetics with ease, with no struggle. With ease. When we're talking about with ease, you know, you meet a female, you know, or you date or whatever, and you meet the right one, and then you bust nuts inside the female, get her pregnant, and then be able to take care of everything financially. You feel what I'm saying? Be able to pass on your genetic code with ease, with no struggle, with no code. I mean, yeah, well, you got to have a code to anything, right? Try to break into something, you got to get the code. You know what I'm saying? But with no fucking goddamn struggle, bro. You know? Meaning that you're going to have to compete with other men to pass on your genes. That's what this life is about. Competing with other men to pass on your genetic code. To pass on your genes. I got bit on my arm. I got a bit on my arm. Hell yeah. You feel what I'm saying? To pass on your genetic code. So you're going to have to get a lot of money. Especially if you ain't no thug, you ain't no gangster. You know what I'm saying? Life is going to be harder on you, bro. Because you don't fit the description. You know? Part of the reason why I didn't have children, man, because I wasn't thug enough coming up, bro. I was a good guy coming up. I wasn't gangster enough. Because if I was, I'd be done had children already. You see what I'm saying? Man, I could, but I'm doing it wrong. When I was doing my thing out in my 20s, I could have had some children, bro. I met quite a few females I could have, you know, started with. You know, I could have got Gwen pregnant. You know what I'm saying? You know, I could have got Gwen pregnant, but I didn't. You know, I probably should have, but she already had kids already. You see, us men, us good guys, it's gonna be harder for you to have a family. I just got done watching, Savvy Guy's video. You know, he was talking about, yeah, if you ain't a thug, if you don't fit the description, you're gonna have a hard time passing on your genetics. And I'm like, man, you gotta understand what this is really about, though. It's about money, looks. Okay, that's what it's about. That's why you're having a hard time. You know what I'm saying? You're asking, why am I having a hard time passing on my genetics and stuff like that? Because, bro, you don't fit the description. You see what I'm saying? You don't fit the descriptions. You know, these women, they picking and choosing who they having babies with. You feel what I'm saying? And yeah, I could have had kids in my 20s when I was very active with women. In my 20s was when I was the most active with women, bro. I could have passed on my genetic code. What's up with it, Sean Breezy? What's up with it, Alex? You know what I'm saying? But nowadays it's even harder because of the internet. The way the internet is right now. You know? And nowadays it's all about looks, money, status. If you don't have any of that, you're going to say goodbye to your genetics, man. If you don't have any of that shit, bro, say goodbye to that shit. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why it's important for you to get that bag so you can live on easy street, man. That's why we fight for the bag, man, to make life easy. If I want to pass on my genetic code, I'll pass it on with ease when I got the bag. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, and it's about looks, because I just dropped a little bit of weight and now females are responding to me dropping weight. So I know it's all about looks. You can't tell me twice or 3 times or 4 times or 5 times. these females, they try to pretend like it ain't all about looks, that it's about character. No, character comes last. Looks come first, bro. I'm seeing a lot of like Chads and Tyrones with hot women driving by out here, bro. And some of these dudes are the nicest dudes in the world, man. A dude with a hot woman, he the nicest dude in the world, bro. I noticed that. You know what I'm saying? Because they ain't got no reason to be mad about nothing. They sleeping with a hot woman every single night. Would you be walking around angry, pissed off all the time? I'd be like, hell no. You know? Dudes passing on their genetics with ease, bro. Because they got the looks to do so, man. Me, I've always been slightly above average in looks when I was younger. Slightly above average. Now, I was like a 7 coming up. Because my body count, woof, man. Especially ages, between ages, ages 20 to like 29, 30. Man, I was knocking them down. I could have had babies, man, like a while back, but I just couldn't find a female to have babies with. You know what I'm saying? But back to what I was saying about looks and money, you gotta have at least one of those, bro. Since it's all about looks, you gotta have a whole lot of looks. And we can't control how we look unless we go through plastic surgery and shit, and height surgery. You gotta have a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta have either one of those to be able to pass on your genetic code, bro. Either a lot of looks, because Keke Palmer, she had a baby with a broke Chad Rome. He's broke. He had no money, bro. But she still had a kid with him, bro. See, he was able to pass on his genetic code because of his looks. You feel what I'm saying? So if you're a guy that's in between, you're an average looking dude, or, you know what I'm saying, you're just going to have a harder time. That's how I know it's all about looks, because you have a harder time passing on your genetics versus a Chad or a Tyrone. They don't have no hard time. Women want them to bust nuts inside of them any day with no condom on. I see how females are when they're highly attracted to you. You don't have to wear condoms. I've been with females who didn't want me to put on a condom. They wanted me raw inside of them. You know what I'm saying? They wanted me raw inside of them. They were so turned on by my genetics that they just said, no, fuck a condom. And they let me skeet inside. Thai girl, she was so turned on by my genetics at the time, because I was on the enhancement drugs, right? And I was at like 10% body fat. And she let me skeet all inside of her, bro. Multiple times. Twice in a row sometimes. I would pull out after I got done skeeting inside that good juicy cooch. And then I would wait for 5 minutes, and I'd be back in there, and I would skeet inside again. Now, I didn't get her pregnant, not that I know of, but that lets me show, hey, it lets me know that it's all about looks. They'll let you skeet inside if you turn them on. You know what I'm saying? You turn them on enough, they'll let you skeet inside the cooch. Like, God damn, she let me bust nuts inside there raw. Yeah, because she turned on by your looks. She is turned on by your looks. You feel me? Because when I was a fat guy, chunky butt, I wasn't given the time of day. I wasn't given the time of day when I was chunky butt. So now I know it's about looks now. You feel what I'm saying? And then now we need a lot of money. We need paper. We need some Skrilla scratch, bro. You know, women will give you money if your looks are on point. Yep. Like the other day, man, I had a female come up to me in Starbucks, ask me what my size was, with the shirt. What size shirt you wear? She just came up out of nowhere. When I dropped that weight, that's when females started giving me shit. All of a sudden I'm having an easier time with females now, being at a lower body fat percentage. And I'm not even done. I'm still dropping weight, man. You feel what I'm saying? Because just 7 pounds heavier ago, man, I was the same person, guys. I wasn't nothing different. I was the same character. You know what I'm saying? I was the same dude. You drop about 7 pounds, your gut gets flatter, then all of a sudden, hi, how you doing? Little 7 went from ignoring the shit out of me like a shadow, to like now looking at me dead in the face. They look at your face more when you drop weight. I know that. I noticed that. They look you in the eyes. They look you in the face. So, oh, he done dropped some weight. He look good now. He done dropped some weight. Like, little 7, why are you looking at me like that? Huh? Is it because I dropped the weight? Is it because now my personality is different somehow? You know? Yeah, exactly. Sean Breezy. Women would do anything for dudes they for dudes they like, even if you're on the first night. Yep, exactly. They don't want you to use a condom when they totally turned on by you. You sure what I'm saying? Like I said, man, when I was dating Thai Girl, and you guys know who Thai Girl is, a Thai girl that I used to date a while back, she had a nice big ass, man. I was like, I was turned on by that nice big ass of hers, bro. And she didn't want me to use a condom. She let me stick it inside her bra, bro. And then skeet inside, too. Multiple times. I can say I skeeted inside at least 7 times, bro. But I knew I wasn't going to get her pregnant because I was on the gear. I was on the juice. So that makes you sterile. You feel what I'm saying? But now I know it's about looks, man. You can't tell me anything different, man. When motherfuckers say, well, it's all about character. It's all about personality. Like, that's bullshit, bro. Just the other day, I had a whole lot of character being 7 pounds heavier. You feel what I'm saying? And now I done dropped a few pounds, and now they check it for me now. They're starting to become more lively toward me. Saying extra words. And all that other BS. You see what I'm saying? So now I know it's all about looks to me. All about looks. And money. You got to have both of those. You got to have the bag. And you got to be looking good. Low percentage body fat. Desirable. You feel what I'm saying? You got to have both or either one of those. A whole lot of looks, a whole lot of money. If you lacking in both of those areas, bro, I'm sorry, you're going to have a hard time out here. For real. You lacking in one of those, bro. If you lacking in one of those, you're going to have a hard time. I mean, both of those, sorry. You could be lacking in one of those. My bad. If you lacking in both of those, you're gonna have a hard time passing on your genetics, bro. You're gonna have a hard time passing on your genes, hard time dating, hard time getting a woman. You're just gonna have a hard time. You feel what I'm saying? I don't think I'm gonna get me a fast today. We gonna fast today, bro. I don't think I'm gonna have a bagel this morning. I wanted a bagel, but I'm like, nah, it's bulky. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to drop some weight, and I gotta lay off the bread. If I want to continue to get Little Savage attention, I gotta keep dropping body fat percentage. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, we ain't gonna have no bread this morning. And I was in the mood for a cream cheese bagel, man. But I can't fuck with that, man, right now. We need to lay off the carbs. What's up with it? Cradle in the house? Yeah, Killcat X is coming back, baby. Yeah, he said, I heard Killcat X is coming back here. Yeah, he is. If I keep on dropping this body fat percentage, he'll be back. You know? Yeah, he's back. He coming back, baby. He's like halfway resurrected. You feel me? He's halfway resurrected. You know. It ain't quite there yet, Credo. He's halfway resurrected, bro. We're like, yes, we're gonna resurrect Killcat X, bro. Hey, man, some of them guys, they like me when I was Killcat X, man. Except I'm not on the juice this time. See, when I was Killcat X, I was on the juice. And the juice, it changes your personality, you know. And I was like egotistical. I was out of control. I was always at bars. I was always getting dates. I was like, man. Yeah. He said, yeah, no doubt. Glad you on it. Bro, love you, my bro. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Killcat X is coming back. He halfway resurrected. I say about 50%. I'm reviving him right now as we speak. He's halfway resurrected. I'm like, yes, Killcat X, it's alive. He's coming back. It's like Optimus Prime. You know what I'm saying? In the Transformers. You know what I'm saying? Being resurrected. Yeah, bro, you were a monster. Yeah. Because I was on that shit and I was at low percentage body fat, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I was getting a whole lot of like positive feedback from females. You know, so that was tearing my ego up, nigga. My ego went up like this, getting strokes like I was when I was in my 20s. I thought I was all that in my 20s, shit. That shit take you back into time. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, these videos still get a nigga through life. Killcat, 35 days. Yeah, man. You feel what I'm saying? He almost back. But like I said, man, you either gotta have a lot of looks or a lot of money, man, to like really survive. You feel what I'm saying? To really live life. If you don't have at least one of those, you won't be able to live life, especially with women. Either you got to be tall, 6'3", you know, Chad or Tyrone, or you got to have a lot of bread. That's why I say get a lot of money, man. That way you can live life to the fullest, man. You ain't restricted, you know. And maybe we had TJ Muscle days, but I remember that. TJ Muscle, I remember that. Yeah, but the Hellcat X days were amazing. Yeah, because I was full of confidence, bro. You feel what I'm saying? I was full of confidence, man. When you lose weight, man, and you get all this feedback from women, for some reason, your ego grow, uh, yeah, your confidence grow. You're walking around with your chest out. You're getting positive feedback, you know, when you looking good, man. When you at low percentage body fat, you ain't a fat slob. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm like, what? When did Hellcat X come around? You know, I mean, that was like 2017 or 18 or something like that. That I know it was like before the pandemic, so it had to be like around 2018 or 19 or some shit like that. You feel what I'm saying? I think Hellcat X was resurrected, or he was created. I shouldn't say resurrected. He was created around 2017, 2018. Like I said, I knew, you know, it was before the pandemic. You know, Hellcat was an unstoppable force, bro. Hellcat X. I mean, it was kind of like going from Urkel to Stefan. You feel what I was saying? Going from Steve Urkel to Stefan. It was kind of like going from the Nutty Professor to like Buddy Love. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was, bro. Because I had lost a lot of weight, man, and I'm getting all this attention from females and shit, man. And it blew my ego up. So now I was walking around like I was the shit. Now, was I getting top tier women? No, but I was getting some females' attention. At least I was getting like 5, 6, and 7 attention again, like it was early 2000s or some shit like that, bro. Cause I had the jawline out and shit like that, man. You know what I'm saying? you know, I had the jawline out. I was looking good, man. But my thing is, man, yeah, my thing is bring him back, though. We're gonna bring back Hellcat X. He halfway there, dog. So don't worry. Stay tuned and shit. You know, don't worry. Stay tuned. You know, to be continued. I'll be back after these messages. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, jawline check. Yeah, yeah, jawline check. Yeah. That was my shit. Yeah, yeah. That was before the pandemic. Everything fell apart. Like when the pandemic stopped, man, I wasn't able to work out and lift weights. I mean, I'm still working out, but I let myself go to shit. I gained all that weight again during the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? The pandemic it fucked everything up, man. Bruh, I had gym maxed my body to almost a bodybuilder almost. I was on that trend hard, bro. You feel what I'm saying? I was on trend hard. I was cycling at least once or twice a week or some shit like that. You know, and the more you take it, the shorter the time in between, like doses and stuff like that. You know, it's not too late. No, it's not too late, bro. You know, we gonna do it. We gonna do Hellcat X clean this time, though. You know, no enhancements really right now. You know, this time you're gonna get a clean Hellcat X. He ain't gonna be on the juice. Because best believe, bro, my fucking personality changes when I'm on the juice, bro. You know what I'm saying? But that let me know, back to my point, man, that it's all about looks, guys. Remember, I was a chunky motherfucker, like, before the juice, bro. I couldn't get a date. I couldn't get nothing. I was fat, bro. You know what I'm saying? I could not get not even a single date, not even with a fat chick, okay? And then when I lost the weight, bro, I noticed women started looking at me differently after that. I know it all changed. It was like magic. Cause I remember some females that wasn't feeling me, you know, when I dropped the weight, all of a sudden they start feeling me. Like there was this one big girl over there in Walnut Creek where I lived and shit. I was trying to hit on her when I was fat because I couldn't get anything, bro. But the moment I lost weight, bro, all of a sudden she's looking at me in the face and shit. You know, she's looking at me in the face when I dropped the weight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, all that drinking is the only thing that's crashing you out. Yeah, I'm calming down off of it, bro. And when I do drink, I only drink a little bit. A couple shots. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe about 3 or 4 shots, I'm good. I stopped the beer drinking. That was what keeping the weight on me, man. I stopped drinking beer. I don't drink beer no more. But Hellcat X, back in effect. Back in effect. You know. They were like, I can't believe Hellcat X is coming back. He's alive. He's alive. Fools come running to the channel. Like, man, I heard Hellcat X is coming back in here. Man, look. Motherfuckers kicking in doors. Boom. Where Hellcat X at? Boom. Bring that nigga back. Hellcat X is my alter ego, bro. Like I said, man, it's like Steven and Stefan, the Nutty Professor, and Buddy Love, bro. Remember, Buddy Love had a huge ego, bro, when he lost all that weight. You know, he thought he was the shit. You know, Nutty Professor, he was humble. He didn't have a whole lot of confidence. You know what I'm saying? He covered himself with food, you know. You know. But we gonna bring him back, don't worry. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm gonna end this live, man. It's already 42 minutes. I gotta get up in here and get me something. I'm supposed to be fasting today though, man. No food, man. No food until 2 o'clock. You guys have a good day, man. I'll be back on later. I'll see y'all in the next one. I'm out.